Welcome to today's presentation. I am a corporate pleb, and this is How to Corporate. Anyone familiar with general lore about vampires will recall one of the recurring themes, and that is, with longevity comes extreme boredom, loss of passion, and overall disinterest in just about everything. The recurring theme holds that over time, all the superpowers one has from being a top human predator like a vampire, all the advantages and the myriad of unique experiences afforded by being one of the undead, all that positive will eventually flatline like your heartbeat, and nothing you can do will change that fact. Even a vampire will burn out. In the general lore, a vampire experiencing burnout can hibernate, wake up years later, and take a look at the world around them with fresh eyes and their impressive collection of superpowers, renewed and back at it again. Hibernation seems to be the vampire's safety valve for when things get to be too much. You, on the other hand, dear pleb, can't hibernate, and you have no superpowers. So when you find yourself struggling to discover a shred of enthusiasm in the same daily routine, you simply get to deal with it. No hibernation for you. You're awake for all of it. Now, in the absence of a hibernation safety valve, when burnout starts to hit, we have to find coping mechanisms. Some of us find hobbies. Hello, YouTube. Some of us find new jobs, new careers, new partners in life, and renewed interest in mind-altering substances via prescription and unofficial sources. There are a host of ways to combat general dislike of your current station in life and to stave off burnout. If hobbies and booze aren't enough, you can appeal to a doctor for various uppers to help ease the crushing pain of modern life and get through just one more day. We all have points where we bend and need to shore up our defenses to keep on keeping on. Unfortunately, in the corporate world, safety valves are not 100% effective. You will witness people break. Burnout is never pretty when you see it. It's not even darkly amusing. It serves as example for everyone who hasn't broken of what can and may happen with a long time span in corporate. There are many factors going into why people burn out on the job, and they are not strictly because of the job itself or specific to corporate life. People burn out all the time in all lifestyles. I can only speak to what I know of, and what I know of burnout and what I've seen in the corporate world is basically all I've ever seen it happen in, just because that's my experience. But many reasons add up to it. Usually the main factor is simply that of time. Like vampires, the day in, day out ends up getting to you. And you either find a safety valve or you burn out. Now, of course, you don't want to burn out. It's awful for everyone involved. But how to avoid it? It is a slow build-up, and it leads to a quick burn. And if you don't manage it, it's one of those things that is going to get you. But it's really just a reflection of the daily grind. Every day, the same day on repeat. The same work, the same people. A coworker gets fired, and overnight the same employee will sprout up in the chair of the old employee with nothing more to mark the event than a change of name. You'll have the same conversations with the new person as you did with the last. What did you do this weekend? Crazy weather, huh? And, of course, what do you got planned for this next weekend? Life becomes a collective diorama where you can't tell if you've been placed inside of it or if you were always just a part of it. And neither answer is pretty and neither answer matters because regardless of the reason, it sucks. And a little beer or a few prescription pills ain't going to change that. Every day different and every day exactly the same. In your late teens and 20s, burnout was something for old people. You might catch wind of it here and there, but who has time to focus on that? 20s lead into 30s. You start getting serious. This corporate life, you know it. It feeds you. You started the job thinking it'll just be a year, 2 tops, and then you'll be out of it. And yet, it's been 8 years. You're still acting like a new hire in a low-level position that a person off the street can do with a couple weeks training. Hey, might as well get serious. Burnout? You don't have time for burnout. You have a mission. You've got to find your passion. 30s. Those lead into late 30s and early 40s. You've tried it. You've tried getting serious. Every time you think you're building something, making something, setting down some company foundational stone that's going to last forever, someone comes along higher up and knocks your little sandcastle back into the waves, back to nothing. And no one cared that you bothered trying in the first place. No one even noticed, did they? Then late 40s, you admit to yourself you are, in fact, slowing down. You've been thinking hard about what the future looks like. Last physical, where your doctor lubed up to the elbow and had some news afterwards. Yeah, you're thinking about late game stuff now. Still, too early to call it quits, but too late to do anything other than simply try to not get fired. Now is when you get at it. Late 40s, 50s. If you are going to burn out, you're going to start doing it now, if you can't avoid it. And you might not avoid it. You might actually lose it. At least the human resources nightmare of paperwork you get to deal with post-burnout and mental leave of absence will be a break in routine, right? So, as you trudge through your career following that sort of set pathway as a worker pleb, you're going to hit on that end cycle. And this end cycle is going to set you on a final pathway. Your final pathway in the corporate world is going to be one of a couple options. Some people are going to get out, last-ditch effort, leave the life. You only got one life to live, and you might as well not waste it at the back end of it in corporate. So, literally anything else is going to be applicable. Some people take another route. They double down. They stay. It's easier than bailing out, starting a new process. They've been doing the same thing for decades anyway. It ain't been all bad, and might as well keep on keeping on. It's what you know. And then there's the people who do have the burnout. And those people will lose their minds in no uncertain terms. Some will seek to end it on their own terms. Some will have surprise cardiac arrest on the job. If you are in a corporate environment long enough, you will see your share of baby showers and funerals. It's important to remember that corporate life is your life for the majority of any given year. Burnout, if not managed, will eventually have a good chance of sneaking up on you and just getting you. Show me a career corporate pleb, and I will show you someone who harbors deep depression. And depression can easily turn to full-blown burnout overnight. Now, I don't have any real advice on this topic. All I can do is point out that burnout is something that's always lurking and always ready to pounce. So for you, the common worker pleb, it's important to just be prepared for burnout, because it is there and you will need to deal with it. And the way to deal with it, as far as I've seen, is have multiple safety valves in place. Unplug from your day-to-day routine regularly. Have hobbies. I cannot stress that one enough. It is radically important to have some sort of passionate distraction that means nothing in terms of your career, but might just help you keep your head out of the oven. Hobbies are an absolute key thing to have. And don't center your personal life around work individuals, coworkers, and colleagues. It's always good to have people who are not affiliated in any way whatsoever with your business. Here and there, someone that is just a person you deal with is a good thing to have. Most of the time that's your partner or your spouse, but if you have an extra friend somewhere that's not part of your business world, that can be a big help too. Thank you for joining me. Please come back and explore the corporate world from the standpoint of a common worker pleb at any time. See you soon.